Black women are availing ourselves to all of the options that our hard work and circumstances currently afford us. And that means that single motherhood by choice is going to be an option that more and more Black women consider and even exercise. So anybody that's in their feelings about that can go ahead and start to process right now.
Welcome back to That Liminal Period. It's your girl, Chun-Li Shoddy. By now, I'm sure many of you guys have already seen the story on Eboni K Williams and how she is indeed pregnant with her first child. You know, honestly, Kevin told us, this is something that we should have expected to come. And not only did Kevin tell us, but Eboni throughout the years have been telling us this. She is the pioneer for single motherhood by choice.
Black women are availing ourselves to all of the options that our hard work and circumstances currently afford us. And that means that single motherhood by choice is going to be an option that more and more Black women consider and even exercise. So anybody that's in their feelings about that can go ahead and start to process right now.
Mind you, she posted this a year ago. So we had a whole year to process this. Okay, guys, this is why I said this was the expected outcome.
Because Black women that have the privilege to embark upon this expensive and oftentimes lengthy process will increasingly decide to forego marriages and partnerships that do not serve us and that are not in our best interests. And now that bypassing those insufficient relationships does not have to come at the expense of motherhood, well, frankly, it's a whole new world. A world in which Black women are no longer subject to the desperation of being chose, because now we get to do the choosing. And as we choose, we do have to contend with the reality of a dismally small supply of Black sperm. Because most Black women on this journey, we want to create children that look like us and that look like our families, and that means we want Black sperm.
Ironically, Eboni was engaged to a white man for many, many years. I don't really know when she started speaking on Black love specifically and the lack of Black men. And maybe that's the reason why she originally chose a white man. But I feel like if that engagement would have gone through and became marriage, she would have had no issues with having children with a white man. Anyways, none of my business. Again, none of this is ever my business, but interesting.
And as we heard from Reese Brooks, it's the definition of slim pickings. And sometimes that means compromising on this aspect of your journey. Now, I am extremely fortunate that I was able to secure 2 vials of Black sperm from California Cryobank when I embarked on this part of my journey last fall. But I, like the women you heard from today, go by the creed of no regrets. I have, and many Black women have, too much love, too many resources, and too rich of a community not to share these gifts with children of our own, children that will one day, no doubt, enrich and contribute to the next generation of Black America.
And before I let the ladies at The Real share their thoughts on single motherhood, I guess the reason why I wanted to share my 2 cents and my perspective on this video is because the main issue I have is that it's not the issue that we have as people with single moms, right? Or at least let me speak for myself. I don't have a problem with single moms. I was raised by a single mom. I was raised by a single mother. However, I don't want that messaging to be endorsed. I don't want it to be promoted. And if you would have watched the entire clip that Eboni had on her podcast, she is endorsing this. She is promoting this. She is providing resources to this. And I feel like in the year of 2024 and 2023, 2022, whenever she posted that video, we have Google. There are resources online. So obviously, her making several episodes of her podcast related to pursuing single motherhood by choice, regardless if that is her own personal journey, I feel like in a way it is encouraging and normalizing that. I don't know how I'm trying to really convey it, right? So hopefully it comes to me towards the end of the video, but I don't feel like her making this type of content and us just going, yay, go Eboni, go single moms is really is really the path that we should take.
I recently came across an interesting article where one user stated she manifested being a single mother. She went on to say, I was determined to prove that I would never be the parent I had, at least not the woeful parts of them that I came to resent. Well, the comments came flooding in with people giving their opinions and experience on being a single parent. So ladies, what are your thoughts on this? And is aiming to be a single mom a bad thing?
No, I mean, listen, I'm a single mom. And although I have to say my ex-husband is definitely, obviously, in the boy's life, and he's a great dad. It's hard. It is hard. Yeah, it wasn't my intention. I went in, with the whole family. Yeah. But if you're wanting to be a single mother, I think you have to get things in order. You have to have a village. You have to know that you have parents nearby or friends that are going to truly be there. You're going to pick, hopefully, a godmother that will truly be not just on the certificate, but truly there for you. You have to put your village together. And I feel like it's interesting. Women who maybe seek out to be a single mother are thought of, oh God, really? That's too bad you couldn't find a man? Is that why? But then if a dad went to be a single father, wow, that's amazing. You chose to be
Hill
a
Harper
single
is one,
right.
Anderson Cooper,
Yes.
Andy Cohen, and nobody questions them.
I don't feel like your point should be made with whataboutism, right? Like sometimes maybe, like I'm guilty of it too, but I don't really think that a good point to make as far as supporting women aiming to be single moms, right? Like we're not saying just single mom out of your choice because you're a widower or a widow or you're a single parent because of a divorce or something, right? Like life happens. If your goal is to become a single mom, like again, it's like saying your goal of becoming a stripper, and maybe that's again not the best analogy, but like we all know the statistics of people that go into prison, even the success rate of people coming from two-parent households. So we understand the benefits of having children within a marriage. So we understand that, yet because you have enough money and you have enough resources and you have enough people around you, now all of a sudden it's okay. If you happen to become a single mom, yes, I hope that you have a community. I hope you gain the resources. I hope that life still comes together for you and the children. Like, look at me and my siblings. Like, we're doing okay.
There are 11 million single parent families with children under the age of 18, and nearly 80% were headed by single mothers. Yeah. 80%. Wow. They make up the majority. So you don't hear a lot of criticism, like you said, from men. You just have to make sure that you have your village. And, being a new mother, Jeannie, can you talk about how hard it is, and you have help?
Yeah, I always picture it, actually. I always think about, like, could I ever do this by myself? And I'm positive the part of the reason why I chose not to by myself, I wasn't interested in being a mom, is because it's such a forever job. It's a full-time forever, no holidays off, no paid vacations. You're around the clock even after they're 18, worrying about how your child is. So for me, even though I personally wouldn't aim to be a single mom, I just need to make sure I have the support. You need the support.
I just don't think you should rush into it when if you look and you go, my biological clock is ticking. There are other ways to, get your maternal instincts, satisfy that. You could be a great auntie. You could be a great friend to someone that already has children. It's like, just don't, say, I want my own. You really have to think about it, because like you ladies have just said, it's hard work. It's hard. And if you don't have a village, it can really be devastating. And when you think about it, it could be devastating to the child. It's like sometimes we sit back and we go, well, this is what I want. But think about, will that child have a great, life? Will it be very fulfilling? Right. I'm sure you could do it. I'm not, because there are great single mothers out there. But you really have to make sure you have everything in order and together.
Absolutely.
Think about how devastating it is to the child. And I actually want to share something real quick. So I found the quotes I want to share with you guys, but just a little backstory. I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar, but Eboni K Williams didn't know her father growing up. A part of her storyline on The Real Housewives of New York was that she was on a journey to find who her dad was, and she finally found him. She made this post. This little girl never knew who her daddy was. Not a name, a picture, or address. No father to say he was proud at her college graduation. No father to walk her down the aisle at her wedding, she wrote. Absolutely no idea about that entire half of her identity, and therefore she was incomplete. Her mother was and is amazing, but not even the best mother can take the place of a father's love and protection. It was a void that persisted for 37 years. I presumed I simply didn't deserve a dad. It made me feel illegitimate and inadequate. Despite the academic achievements, beauty pageant crowns, professional success, I struggled to feel enough. I was a fatherless child, and it hurt. Okay. So tearjerker, but no, I wanted to share that because straight up, Eboni knows how it feels like to be a daughter raised by a single mom and not know the identity of her father. As much I want to congratulate you for the blessing that is to come, and as much as I know that you're going to take great care of your daughter because you have done a tremendous job with your career and have built a nest egg for you and her. However, just like you said in the post, despite the achievements, despite the pageant crowns, despite the successful career, I struggled to feel enough. So I don't know, I don't know, maybe once again, this is a necessary video so that all the young girls can see this, witness this, okay? Because Eboni found her father only a couple years ago. She was 37, 38. When she wrote that Instagram post. And you're now ready to embark on a journey, bringing into a child into the same life that you had. So it's just surprising to me that, again, there aren't more women. I didn't see the comments in the People magazine, criticizing or scrutinizing the situation. Of course not. We've seen it done so many times in Hollywood. You see Naomi Campbell do it. You saw, what's the thick Kardashian sister? Khloe had a baby, another surrogate baby. You see them all go through the process. And I mean, the only difference here is that Eboni is carrying hers. That's the only difference. Going back to what Lonnie Love said, my initial instinct was, well, why don't you adopt? There are other people that go through in vitro fertilization that are, in relationships, or people that are in same-sex relationships where they go through IVF. But I think the main point of criticism is that, again, she is going through this alone. I don't even want to say why not adopt, because a lot of times, even when you go through adoption agencies, they want to make sure that the kids are going into the best environment to set them up for success. And usually that means a 2-parent household. So I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know what the solution is. I mean, if you want to be able to give back to the Black community or be a part of building the foundation of the next generation, then why not just donate and give back to the Black community? Why not give back to the Boys and Girls Club or the Y or your local church? Why do you have to go and have your own child?
And there are other ways to, it's plenty of kids. You could adopt too,
Yeah,
sure. There are definitely single women who have chosen to adopt because they still want that experience of motherhood. And I think that it can be done. It's so crazy because my stepdaughter told me about a new way of life that is now being discussed, which I'm sure has happened for over years, but now they've given it an official name. And it is platonic life partners. Have you heard about this?
No.
So it's pretty much like if you and me were single women and we decided together, we obviously weren't, it's not a lesbian couple. It's not like that. We buy a home together. We decide we want to adopt a child together, and the child now has 2 mothers, and we are platonic life partners. And I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah,
because it gives them still
other.
the experience, but it still provides that village that we're all speaking about.
Yeah, I need to have a partner.
Yeah.
If man or woman, we gonna do it.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, this conversation was actually a few years ago because, as you guys heard, Jeannie Maya and Jeezy were still on good terms. I don't think that we should shame women who become single mothers. However, once again, we should not be promoting and endorsing this alternative lifestyle. I don't think that ultimately is going to get men or women to our most fulfilled and most happy place. Instead of, once again, trying to find the root cause and addressing the root cause that is driving men and women apart, We're just finding band-aids and new solutions to address that. And I think it's kind of weird.
Turns out I now have a known donor. I went through California Cryobank. Fantastic.
Oh, and again, I'm sharing just more context as to why I feel like this is old news as to Eboni being officially pregnant, because she's been making her rounds around all of the different female podcasts and women daytime talk shows. She's been getting validation from different women that this is okay, that this is courageous, that this is brave, that this is awesome, this is amazing. Wow. You know, so again, we're now criticizing it, or we're now seeing it go viral, you know, especially people who are familiar with Kevin Samuels type content. It's a little late to talk about it now. Like, we should have been trying to help address the issues along the way. So once again, more young women don't follow behind her footsteps. Like, these women are still unhappy. Again, no matter, even if they have children, they're still going to want to find a man. We heard 6-year-old Vivica Fox say it last week. It's not news to anybody.
Have a known donor. I went through California Cryobank. Fantastic experience. And at 18, my future child, God willing, will be able to know the name, identity, and last known location of their father.
Wow. Because you reunited.
Just because you have a known donor does not mean you have a relationship with the donor. You don't have that bond. You're never going to have that daddy-daughter first stand. You're not going to have him walk you down the aisle, most likely. You might know who he is. You might have access to his medical history, but you're not actually going to have that relationship that you would have had. You're not going to have that father figure and that influence in your life when you needed it the most.
With your
Correct. I was able to track him down through Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
When we
Does
also
that person want to be found?
Yes,
They do.
that's
They sign
part
up
of what
for
I
that.
paid extra for.
yeah.
Literally.
It's important.
Quite literally, yeah.
But you're also dating again, and I heard your dentist
Yes.
set you up.
I was triggered for a second, Sarah. I am dating my dentist, who's so sweet, Dr. Horry here in Manhattan, said, I know a really great guy for you. I really want you to meet him. I'm like, doctor, I'm kind of busy creating embryos and writing a book, but okay. She did introduce me. I think I might have been ghosted.
Oh no.
I know.
To the club. I've been there.
But we'll see. My DMs and phone are still open.
I just want like love. So I would love my baby. I would love to love a man. I would love him to love me back. But where I'm no longer stuck is like, okay, we got to get married in 18 months. We got to have it. Like, it's just that I've kind of released, and I do feel a lot more comfortable now. I feel less stressed and less pressed.
We followed your dating life a little bit on the show.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Are you dating? What, update us? As a fan, I want to know what's going on.
So my biggest personal life update is that I am actually pursuing a single motherhood journey. I don't want to jinx myself with sharing too many details, but I'm deep into my process. I have embryos, and I am looking to transfer later this year. So I'm in it for real. Hopefully, God willing, baby coming soon. And in addition to that, listen, dating is not my priority.
This is exactly why I said it is not news. I don't think that any of this should be surprising. This was just a part of her journey. I know that she says it's a miracle because it was a 1 out of 1 shot. I think out of all of the eggs that she froze, there was only one that actually became an embryo, and then that one was placed inside of her. So she had a 1 in 1 shot. So I guess in that instance, it is a miracle. However, the likelihood of it and the low probability of it actually taking should have actually told her that that was not the way that God, and I'm saying God because Eboni is a Christian, but that's not the way that God intended it to be. You shouldn't have to jump through this many hoops and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, because if a lot of you guys aren't aware, it's an entire process. You have to induce your body with certain hormones. You have to shoot up every day. You actually have to extract those eggs. And then after extracting those eggs, guess what? You have to keep them alive. And then you have to buy the sperm. So it's a very expensive process, this entire darn thing. And once again, that's why I say it's not a very realistic possibility for a lot of women. Again, it sounds very easy to just say, oh, you're 30, go freeze your egg, go freeze your egg. How about when you come close to that wall, or even beforehand, how about you take this as the wake-up call? How about you take these women crying out for applications at 60 or pursuing single motherhood? How about you take those as warning shots of a sad, lonely life that most people would not choose? Of course, these women have money, so money is going to make a lot of situations a lot more bearable. They're still going to have that void because, of course, I just clipped these videos, but within this very interview and the one on The View and the previous one, even though she deprioritizes dating, dating is still on the list. She is not just wanting to pursue motherhood. She just rather pursue motherhood before she meets a man. Meeting a man is still on the list. Like I'm trying to remind you guys this. And again, like we should look at Vivica as the example of Eboni in 15 years. You can still be looking, but they're not looking for you. So instead of going through the steps and going through the process and thinking that you're going to be the one exception, thinking that you're going to be the one at 60 who finds your other half, at 60, you're already past your half. You only have another solid 10 to 15 years. Like, I'm not trying to say you are of no value as a woman at 60 or at a woman at 70, but what new value are you going to bring? At 60 and at 70, you should have already been cultivating the value. Your value is your family. Your value is your children, your grandchildren, the success of your husband. That is all things of value that a woman also contributed to. She's already going to have her child, so I wish everything but the best for her and the child. However, we should not be encouraging this. This should not be a part of the norm. Single motherhood should not just be rebranded for boss babes. Anyways, I enjoyed this conversation. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll look forward to speaking again with you guys next time. Bye.